Sometimes, love doesn't arrive with fireworks or grand confessions. It doesn't always look like what movies teach us. Dramatic kisses in the rain, sudden declarations, or obvious signs. More often, it sneaks in quietly. It shows up in glances that linger a second too long, in words that soften when they're meant for you, and in the unspoken comfort that grows between two people who never planned to fall but somehow did. When a man begins to fall for you, he rarely says it outright, not at first. Instead, his heart speaks through actions, tone, and the little things he doesn't even realize he's doing. He'll start noticing your moods before you say a word, remembering details you forgot you mentioned, or finding ways to be near you without making it seem intentional. His feelings live in those quiet moments, between laughter and silence, between casual messages and long pauses that feel heavier than words. This isn't just romance, it's psychology. When someone truly starts to care, their brain changes how it sees and responds to you. They become more alert to your presence, more sensitive to your emotions, more aware of your absence. Their world subtly shifts, and without meaning to, you become the center of it. You'll see it in the smallest gestures, the way he checks if you got home safely, the way his voice changes when he says your name, the way he subtly mirrors your habits, your expressions, even your texting rhythm. Not because he's copying you, but because your energy has begun to shape his. Every interaction, no matter how ordinary, starts to carry meaning, and that's when you know he's falling, quietly but deeply. Men often express affection through protection, attention, and consistency rather than words. He won't always say, "I miss you," but he'll message you first just to ask something random. He won't always say, "I care," but he'll notice when you're tired or when your tone changes. He won't always say, "I love you," but you'll feel it in the way he listens, really listens, when you speak. What makes it beautiful is the quietness of it all. It's not a performance or a chase. It's gentle, patient, steady, a love that reveals itself in pieces, one act of care at a time. It's in the way he shows up when no one else does, in the small sacrifices he makes without expecting recognition, in the softness he reserves only for you. So if you're wondering whether he's falling for you, don't look for the loud signs. Look for the silent ones, the ones hidden in everyday moments, because real love rarely announces itself with noise. It whispers, it lingers, it lives in the spaces between the words, waiting for you to notice that his heart has already begun to speak, even if his lips never have. His eyes linger a little, too long. There's something powerful about the way a man looks at the woman he's quietly falling for. It's not just a glance, it's a pause. His eyes hold a little longer, as if his heart forgot to hide what it feels. You'll notice it in moments when you're not even saying anything. When you're laughing with friends, fixing your hair, or simply lost in thought. His gaze follows, soft but steady, filled with unspoken curiosity and warmth. When a man is falling for you, his eyes often betray him before his words ever do. He may not confess his feelings outright, but his body language gives him away. He studies your expressions, memorizes the shape of your smile, and looks at you like he's trying to understand the mystery of who you are. It's not about attraction alone, it's about admiration, the kind that comes from truly seeing someone beyond their surface. Sometimes, he'll look away quickly when your eyes meet, not because he isn't confident, but because he's afraid you'll see right through him. That lingering gaze is his silent confession, a subtle way of saying, "You've caught my attention, and I don't know how to hide it anymore." Psychologically, this happens because emotional attachment heightens awareness. The brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which makes him naturally more focused on you. His attention sharpens whenever you're around, and his eyes instinctively search for you even in a crowded room. So, if you ever notice someone whose eyes stay a heartbeat longer, who looks at you like he's lost in a thought he can't name, pay attention. That isn't random. It's one of the most silent, undeniable signs of falling in love. A look that says everything he's still too afraid to put into words. He remembers the smallest things about you. When a man is falling for you, his memory becomes selective, and you're the part it never forgets. He may not recall what he had for breakfast, but he'll remember the way you said your favorite coffee order 3 weeks ago. He'll notice the song you hum when you're happy, the color of the pen you always use, or the exact phrase you said that made him laugh that first time. It's not effort, it's instinct. When feelings run deep, the mind starts holding on to anything that feels connected to the heart. You'll realize it when he surprises you with something small, like mentioning your favorite movie without you reminding him, or texting you after seeing something that reminded me of you. These moments might seem ordinary, but they reveal something profound. You occupy space in his thoughts even when you're not around. Psychologically, this happens because emotional interest sharpens attention. When someone genuinely likes you, their brain releases dopamine, the chemical responsible for motivation and focus. That's why he unconsciously stores details about you. To him, every piece of information becomes a tiny treasure, part of the growing map of who you are. This kind of remembering isn't about grand gestures or showing off. It's quiet, genuine, and deeply human. He might recall the way your tone changes when you talk about your dreams, or how your eyes light up when you speak about someone you love. And when he brings those details up later, it's his subtle way of saying, "I listen to you, you matter to me." So, when you notice he remembers the little things even you might have forgotten, understand it for what it is, not obsession, but care. His heart is paying attention, and in the language of love, attention is the purest form of affection. His voice softens. When he talks to you, you can tell a lot about how someone feels by the way their voice changes around you. When a man is falling for you, his tone naturally shifts. It becomes gentler, slower, and more careful. It's not something he plans or even realizes. It's instinctive. His voice carries warmth, like he's subconsciously trying to make you feel safe and understood. The rough edges fade away, replaced by a softness that only appears when he's speaking to someone who truly matters. This happens because emotions influence how we communicate. When he's drawn to you, his body releases oxytocin, the same chemical that fosters bonding and trust. It relaxes his vocal muscles and changes his pitch slightly, making his voice sound more tender, calm, and emotionally open. You might notice he speaks differently to others, louder, more casual, but when it's you, the tone drops to something almost intimate, like every word is chosen with care. It's in the little things, how he says your name, how he laughs more softly when you're near, or how he lowers his voice when you talk about something personal. He doesn't want to rush those moments. He wants to stay in them. His speech slows down, as if his heart is speaking faster than his mouth can keep up. Sometimes, that softness also carries hesitation. Not out of fear, but reverence. He doesn't want to say the wrong thing. You matter too much, and even when he teases or jokes, there's an underlying warmth that doesn't appear with anyone else. So, pay attention to the way his voice feels rather than what he says. If it comforts you, if it sounds like home in a way words can't describe, that's not coincidence. That's affection finding its way through tone, through silence, through every quiet syllable that says, "You mean more to me than I can admit." He tries to protect you without making it obvious. One of the quietest, most sincere ways a man shows he's falling for you is through subtle protection, the kind that doesn't draw attention to itself. He's not trying to act like a hero or make grand gestures. Instead, he watches over you in small, thoughtful ways. When you're walking together, he naturally takes the side closest to the road. When you're in a crowded place, he instinctively positions himself where you'll feel safe. When someone makes you uncomfortable, his body language shifts, shoulders squared, eyes alert. But he won't make a scene. He just wants you to feel secure. Men often express affection through actions rather than words. This quiet protectiveness comes from something deeper than ego. It's a mix of instinct, care, and emotional attachment. His brain's reward system activates when he knows you're safe, releasing dopamine and serotonin, chemicals that make him feel good about being your silent guardian. It's not about control. It's about comfort. Protecting you becomes a reflex because in his heart, your safety matters more than his pride. You'll notice it in simple gestures, offering his jacket when it's cold, texting to make sure you got home safely, or walking you to your car even when it's late. These small things may seem casual, but they're not. They're quiet acts of love, built from a deep desire to shield you from harm, both physical and emotional. Even in conversations, he subtly protects your peace. He might steer discussions away from people who upset you or defend you when someone makes a careless comment. And yet, he'll never announce it or expect recognition. That's the beauty of it. His protection isn't loud or possessive. It's calm, consistent, and deeply reassuring. Because when a man truly cares, he doesn't need to say, "I'll protect you." He just does. And somehow, without words, you always feel safer when he's near. He gets quiet. When you mention other guys, when a man is quietly falling for you, one of the most revealing signs isn't what he says, it's what he doesn't say. You'll notice it in those small pauses, those moments when his energy shifts the instant another man's name enters the conversation. His eyes might drop, his smile might fade just a little, and his replies become shorter, not out of anger, but because his heart is processing a feeling he doesn't want to show. Jealousy, in its pure form, isn't always loud or possessive. Sometimes it's silent, a quiet ache that he hides behind politeness. When you talk about another guy, his mind can't help but imagine what that person means to you. It's not insecurity, it's emotional investment. He's afraid of being just a friend, even if he's never said it out loud. From a psychological standpoint, this happens because attachment triggers protectiveness. When he cares deeply, his brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone, whenever he perceives potential emotional loss. That's why he suddenly goes quiet. He's trying to control his reaction, to stay composed while his heart whispers, "I wish that were me." Sometimes he'll mask it with humor, a small joke, a teasing comment, just to hide the sting. Other times he'll change the subject, pretending it doesn't bother him, but the silence gives him away. That tiny shift in tone, that slight hesitation before he speaks, it's the sound of unspoken affection. What makes it tender, though, is his restraint. He doesn't make you feel guilty or possess you. He just listens, quietly wishing he could be the one you're talking about. And in that silence, his feelings speak louder than words ever could. Because when a man truly cares, even his quiet moments carry the weight of everything he's too afraid to confess. His messages always have a reason to keep the conversation going. When a man is falling for you, texting you isn't just communication, it becomes connection. You'll notice he never really lets the conversation end naturally. Even when a topic fades, he finds another reason to keep talking. A random question, a funny meme, a story that just reminded him of you. It's not because he's bored, it's because your presence, even through words, brings him comfort. He might text things like, "Did you eat?" or "You won't believe what happened today." On the surface, they sound casual, but underneath, it's his heart looking for an excuse to stay close. His messages always have a rhythm, light, curious, sometimes teasing, but rarely final. You'll notice he often replies faster to you than to others, and even when he's busy, he somehow finds a moment to reach out. Psychologically, this behavior comes from dopamine-driven anticipation. Every notification from you triggers a small emotional reward in his brain. He associates your name on his screen with warmth, excitement, and emotional safety. So even when he doesn't have much to say, he creates a reason. Because silence feels too far away from you, he'll ask questions that lead nowhere serious, like your opinion on something trivial, just to keep the exchange alive. And when you reply, he mirrors your tone, keeping the conversation light and flowing. He might even deliberately leave a message open-ended, something like, "I'll tell you the rest later," just so there's a reason to talk again. It's in these small patterns that his feelings reveal themselves. A man who isn't interested will let the chat die quickly, but the one who's falling for you, he keeps it breathing, gently, consistently, almost without realizing it. Because for him, every text from you is a heartbeat, and ending the conversation feels like losing that rhythm, even for a moment. He mirrors your words and energy. Unconsciously, when a man is falling for you, his body and mind start syncing with yours, often without him even realizing it. You'll notice it in the smallest details. The way he starts using your favorite phrases, matching your texting style, or even laughing the same way you do. He unconsciously mirrors your tone, pace, and emotions, as if your energy has quietly tuned his. This isn't imitation, it's emotional alignment. His subconscious is saying, "I feel safe with you. I want to connect with you." Psychologically, this behavior is known as the chameleon effect. When we're emotionally drawn to someone, our brain's mirror neurons activate, making us reflect their gestures, expressions, and speech patterns. It's the mind's natural way of creating rapport and deepening connection. So when he starts leaning in when you do, or finishes your sentences, or sighs right after you sigh, that's not coincidence. That's chemistry expressing itself through body language. You might also notice that his mood subtly follows yours. If you're excited, his energy lifts. If you're quiet, he softens his tone to match. This emotional mirroring builds an invisible thread between you two, one that feels effortless yet intimate. It's why conversations with him feel natural, like you've known each other much longer than you have. Sometimes, he'll even start liking the things you love, your favorite music, the kind of coffee you drink, the way you text with certain emojis. It's his subconscious trying to live in your world just a little longer. The beauty of this mirroring is in its silence. He's not trying to impress you. He's syncing with you. His words, his posture, his laughter, they all begin to echo yours. And that's when you know his feelings are no longer surface level. Because when someone starts reflecting your soul without trying, it means their heart is already speaking the same language as yours. He finds excuses to see you. Again and again, when a man is falling for you, he doesn't just want to talk. He wants to be around you. You'll notice he keeps finding small, almost innocent excuses to see you again. Maybe he happens to be nearby, or he forgot to tell you something important, or he asks for your help with something he could have easily handled himself. Each meeting seems casual, but underneath, it's his heart quietly pulling him closer, looking for reasons to exist in your presence a little longer. He might show up at the same cafe you mentioned loving, or suggest catching up just for a few minutes. His reasons often sound simple: borrowing a book, asking about a recommendation, returning something trivial. But they're rarely about the task itself. What he really wants is the feeling he gets when he's near you. That calm, magnetic mix of comfort and excitement that no message or call can replace. From a psychological perspective, this is how emotional attachment manifests physically. The brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, whenever he interacts with you. That release creates a loop of positive reinforcement, making him crave more shared moments, even if they're short. So he keeps creating opportunities, not out of manipulation, but out of longing. You'll notice he often lingers when it's time to leave, standing a little too long, asking one more question, giving one last smile. Those are the moments that reveal everything. He doesn't want the time to end, because for him, every second with you feels like home. What's beautiful is that he never says it outright. Instead, his actions whisper it through effort, through showing up, through time spent, through excuses that aren't really excuses. Because when a man truly falls for you, he doesn't wait for moments to happen. He creates them just to see you again, even if it's only for a heartbeat. He shares personal things. He doesn't tell others. When a man begins to fall for you, his guard starts to lower. Not with everyone, but with you. You'll notice that conversations that once felt light suddenly grow deeper. He begins to share stories from his past, his fears, his dreams, and even the parts of himself that make him vulnerable. Things he never mentions to his friends slip out naturally when he's with you. It's not planned. It's trust taking shape in real time. He might start with something small, a childhood memory, a family story, a moment that shaped him. But soon, he's telling you about his insecurities, regrets, or the times he failed. When a man shares personal details, it's his way of saying, I feel safe here. You see me. Because for most men, emotional openness isn't casual, it's sacred. He doesn't talk about these things to just anyone. He does it because he's beginning to see you as someone who won't judge him for being human. Psychologically, this level of openness is tied to emotional intimacy. When he feels understood and accepted by you, his brain releases oxytocin, the same chemical responsible for bonding and trust. It lowers his defenses and strengthens his emotional attachment. That's why he can talk for hours about things he usually keeps buried. You'll notice how his tone changes during these moments. Softer, slower, more sincere. He's not trying to impress you. He's letting you in. He might even look away when he says something vulnerable, afraid of what you'll think, but still needing you to know. This is one of the most beautiful, silent signs of affection, when a man stops performing and starts revealing. Because love isn't built through grand gestures. It's built in moments like these, where honesty replaces pretense, and he trusts you enough to hand you the parts of himself he once protected most. 10. He gets nervous. When you're too close, there's a quiet electricity that runs through the air when you step a little closer. And if he's falling for you, you'll see it in the smallest, most human ways. His breath might catch, his posture stiffens slightly. He might laugh awkwardly or look away for a second too long. It's not discomfort, It's vulnerability. His body is reacting before his mind can pretend everything's normal. Being near you heightens his senses, and suddenly, every detail, your scent, your voice, the warmth of your presence, feels almost overwhelming. When a man has strong feelings, physical proximity amplifies emotional awareness. His brain releases adrenaline and dopamine at the same time, a mix that makes his heart race and palms sweat. It's the same reaction the body has when it's both excited and nervous. He's trying to act calm, but inside, it feels like standing too close to something fragile and beautiful. You might notice he adjusts his shirt, touches his face, or laughs more than usual when you're near. He's trying to manage the flood of emotions without exposing how deeply he's affected. Sometimes he'll even step back slightly, not because he doesn't want to be near you, but because he's afraid his feelings will show if he doesn't. What's telling is how differently he behaves with others. Around friends or co-workers, he's relaxed and easygoing. But with you, there's a shift, a subtle tension in his voice, a hesitation in his movements, a softness in his eyes that betrays the calm exterior. That nervousness is actually a sign of sincerity. It's the body's way of saying, this person matters. Because when a man truly cares, your nearness isn't just physical. It feels emotional, magnetic, even sacred. He's not nervous because he doesn't want you close. He's nervous because deep down, you're already closer than he ever planned for you to be. Well, his friends know about you. Even if you've never met them, when a man is falling for you, his feelings naturally spill over into the parts of his life he can't fully control, including what he tells his friends. You might not realize it, but the people closest to him already know who you are. Maybe they've heard your name in passing, maybe they've seen your picture on his phone, or maybe they've noticed how he lights up when he talks about you. You haven't met them yet, but in his world, you're already a familiar presence. Men don't talk about just anyone to their inner circle. When he's truly interested, he starts sharing little stories, like something funny you said, how you handled a situation, or how smart or kind you are. He might not say, "I like her," outright, but his tone gives him away. His friends notice the difference. The way he smiles when he mentions you, the way he defends you if someone jokes about you, or how he subtly steers conversations back toward topics that involve you. Psychologically, this happens because when we form an emotional attachment, our mind wants to integrate that person into our social identity. It's a form of emotional validation, a quiet way of saying, she matters to me enough to exist in my world. Talking about you also triggers positive emotions. It lets him relive small moments with you, strengthening the bond even when you're not around. So if one day you meet his friends and they already seem to know small details about you, your favorite coffee, your sense of humor, your quirks, take it as a compliment. It means he's been talking about you long before introductions were made. That's how you know it's real, because when a man's heart is invested, he doesn't need to announce it. His friends already know. They've seen the shift, the soft smile, the change in his voice. You've already become part of his story, even before he's found the courage to tell you so. Pelm. He starts adopting your habits and phrases. When a man is falling for you, something fascinating happens. He slowly starts becoming a reflection of you. You'll notice he begins to use the same words you use, picks up your tone when texting, or laughs the same way you do. Maybe he starts drinking his coffee the way you like it, or begins listening to songs you once mentioned in passing. These small changes may seem accidental, but they're not. It's his subconscious way of staying connected to you, of carrying a piece of you in his everyday life. This phenomenon is called emotional mirroring, and it's rooted deeply in human psychology. When we feel a strong emotional connection with someone, our brain's mirror neurons activate, causing us to mimic their behavior, speech patterns, and even small gestures. It's not imitation, it's emotional synchronization. It means he's tuned into your rhythm and drawn to your energy in a way words can't fully express. You might hear him repeat a phrase you often say or notice that he starts texting, with your same punctuation and emoji style. Maybe he starts showing interest in your favorite TV show or adopts your late-night snacking habit. These subtle shifts are signs that he's not just listening, he's absorbing. He admires you enough that your way of being becomes part of his. What makes this behavior so genuine is that it's never forced. He doesn't even realize he's doing it. It's affection expressed through alignment. His mind saying, I want to be closer to you, even in the smallest ways. So, if you catch him using your words, laughing at your timing, or sharing your little quirks, smile. It's not coincidence, it's connection. Because when a man truly falls for you, he doesn't just love your presence. He starts blending your world into his own, one phrase, one habit, one heartbeat at a time. He looks for you in every crowd. When a man is falling for you, his eyes develop a kind of radar, one that seems to find you no matter where he is. In a room full of people, he'll scan every face until he spots yours. It's instinctive, almost unconscious. He doesn't even realize he's doing it. But his mind is wired to seek out your presence, as if everything else fades into the background until he finds you. You'll notice this in subtle moments. At a gathering, his gaze will drift toward the door the moment you walk in. When you're speaking to someone else, he glances over now and then, not possessively, but because he feels more at ease when he can see you. Even across a crowded place, your laughter will pull his attention like a magnet. He might pretend to stay engaged in conversation, but his eyes tell a different story. They keep returning to you. Psychologically, this happens because the human brain links emotional attachment with visual attention. When someone matters to us, our mind prioritizes them in our perception. This is called the attentional bias effect. It means that without trying, he literally sees you first. You become the calm in the noise, the familiar point his emotions orbit around. It's not about obsession. It's about comfort. Seeing you reminds him that he's where he wants to be. Even when you're apart, he'll catch himself noticing people who look a bit like you, or hearing a voice that sounds familiar and turning to check. That's how deeply you've imprinted on his senses. So when you catch him looking for you, across the room, in a hallway, or even in a reflection, understand what's really happening. His heart has already chosen where to focus, and his eyes simply follow. Because when a man truly falls for you, the world might be full of faces, but somehow, it's always yours he's searching for. He notices your mood, even when you pretend to be fine. When a man is falling for you, he develops an emotional sensitivity that goes far beyond words. You don't have to tell him you're upset, he just knows. Maybe it's in the way your smile doesn't reach your eyes, or how your replies get shorter than usual. He catches the shift instantly. Even if you insist that everything's fine, he feels the disconnect. That's because when someone truly cares, they don't listen to what you say. They listen to what your silence is trying to hide. You'll notice this in small gestures. He'll text you, "You okay?" before anyone else realizes something's off. He might change his tone, speaking softer or more gently, or suddenly appear more patient than usual. Sometimes he won't even ask questions. He'll just try to make you laugh, distract you, or quietly stay beside you, offering calm without needing explanations. That's his way of saying, "I see you," even when you're pretending. Psychologically, this awareness comes from deep emotional attunement. When the brain begins to mirror not just another person's actions, but their emotions. It's empathy at its purest form, and it often shows up when genuine affection begins to take root. His subconscious picks up on your micro-expressions, body language, and vocal tone, allowing him to sense your mood even before you understand it yourself. This kind of emotional intelligence isn't about being nosy or overprotective. It's about care. He's tuned in because you matter to him. Your happiness affects his energy. Your sadness lingers with him long after you've walked away. And the beautiful part, he never makes you feel guilty for it. He doesn't demand answers. He simply shows up with kindness. So, when you're trying to hide behind a practiced smile and he's the only one who notices the truth, that's not coincidence. That's love paying attention. Because when a man's heart is involved, he doesn't just see your face. He reads your silence like a language only he was meant to understand. 15. He treats you differently. With quiet care and respect, the clearest sign that a man is falling for you isn't found in his words. It's in the quiet way he treats you. You'll feel it in the gentleness of his tone, the patience in his actions, and the subtle difference in how he behaves when you're around. He doesn't treat you like everyone else. Not because he's trying to impress you, but because somewhere deep down, he's already decided you matter. When he cares, his entire demeanor softens. He listens more carefully, remembers what you say, and makes sure you're comfortable without turning it into a performance. He respects your boundaries, values your opinions, and never tries to overshadow you. If you disagree, he doesn't argue to win. He listens to understand. That's because, for him, The connection is more important than being right. Psychologically, this is rooted in emotional investment. When a man truly likes someone, his brain associates her with safety and reward. That's why he naturally becomes more protective, patient, and mindful in her presence. His instinct shifts from, "I want her to like me," to, "I don't want to hurt her." That's love maturing quietly, through empathy, not ego. You'll notice the difference in small things. He opens doors without making it a gesture. He puts his phone down when you talk. He remembers how you take your coffee, notices when you're tired, and doesn't interrupt your silence. He might not shower you with dramatic declarations, but his care shows up in consistency, in the way he shows up when it counts. This kind of respect is rare because it comes from depth, not desire. It's not about chasing you, it's about honoring you. He treats you like someone he doesn't want to lose, gently, attentively, and with quiet admiration. And that's how you'll know it's real, because when a man's heart chooses you, his love doesn't need to be loud. It simply shows in the stillness between his words and the softness of his care.